Welcome, welcome, one and all, to the LastCast, the show where we talk about whatever the hell we want. You know what? It's no one's sponsoring me. I can talk about what I want. Joining me today, once again, is Connor from the Condork Gaming Channel. Say hi, Connor.
You act as if you've talked about anything other than movies on the last cast when you
I
do your
talked about a
intro.
TV show for my first video. You don't know. And we played games. Go check that out. We have a Resident Evil 2 series together where we play. Today, we are talking about the new Mortal Kombat movie from Warner Brothers Studios, released on HBO Max and in theaters. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't like it. I really didn't. I'm someone that's been invested in the Mortal Kombat series since I was 12 years old, and so I know the lore, the characters, and this movie it angered me. What about you, Connor? What's your investment in this story?
I know nothing about the video games of Mortal Kombat or anything like that. I haven't really played. I think I played it once, and that was with you. And I didn't.
Yeah.
When I did play a Mortal Kombat game, I just picked a character that looked. I picked characters that looked cool. I didn't pick characters because I liked the story or like I knew their combos or anything like that.
I just want it known that
So
this man mains Noob Saibot.
See, I didn't know I came here to be disrespected.
I kind of want to fatality you right now, but well, this is a discussion. It's not an attack. It might be an attack later. I don't know. I can't promise anything. But so we'll share. I'll share my thoughts. Why I didn't like the movie, and then you can talk about why you did like the movie. I did not like it because it was just boring, and I can go into all the lore differences and why this movie isn't like the games and all that, but that since it's a movie, it's a different medium, I can accept some of that, but I cannot accept that this movie is just so goddamn boring. It's the only person, and I actually made a note, I actually took notes this time, so I had stuff to talk about. Kano saved this movie. Everyone else in this movie, so wooden. Liu Kang is boring. Kung Lao is stilted, and Raiden is just an asshole. But Kano, best part of this movie. I think everyone that watched that can agree. He saved this movie from getting turned off by a lot of people. But yeah, no, like I said, the characters, other than Kano though, unfortunately, are very boring. I actually liked Sonya and Jax. They're pretty faithful to the games, which I appreciate. But then Cole? Connor, do you know anything about Cole?
isn't Cole like an OC for the movie?
He is an OC for the movie. He's never been in a single bit of Mortal Kombat before now. And I was prepared to hate him going into this. And I'm glad to say I didn't hate him. What I can say, though, is I did not care about him. And if I assume Cole was supposed to meant to be this a lens of view for the audience. He's new to this world, as many people are in the audience, and he's our frame of reference. He is the audience, basically. And I'm sorry, but I did not feel attached to him. I didn't feel like I was experiencing the movie through him. I felt just bored watching him. What about you?
Well, just about Cole specifically, or the whole
Just the whole, like, did you think the characters were boring or wooden?
Well, I think again, it really comes down to the fact that you and me have different frames of reference when watching this movie.
Mhm.
I know Mortal Kombat. The only thing I know about Mortal Kombat is that it's a very bloody fighting game. I don't know any of the lore. I don't know any of that. I know that they have crazy fatalities, and I know that it's a fighting game. And so
Yeah.
I came into this movie waiting for, like, wanting action. I wasn't expecting a whole lot of character growth, character development, anything like that. It's sort of like my stance when I was walking into Godzilla vs. Kong. I don't know anything about monster movies. I've never seen a monster movie. I don't know a whole lot about movies in general.
Well, the difference between that movie and this one is Godzilla and Kong are both monsters who don't necessarily have defined personalities and backstories and that kind of stuff. They kind of do, but not in the same way the characters in Mortal Kombat do. There's not a set lore for each of them.
The trick is, though, it's sort of the same thing when you're walking into like a Dwayne Johnson B-list action movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I walk into one of those movies, I don't expect there to be huge character momentum shifts and stuff like that. And you may, because you grew up with this game, and so you know the lore and stuff like that. So you may have these huge like concepts of, oh, I know story about the game, so if they better do these characters justice. I came in and I'm like, oh, this guy can shoot fire. I want to see him shoot fire real cool. Or, oh, is he gonna say the line? Is Scorpion gonna say the line?
Scorpion,
this is how broken
boy.
my viewpoint was of the game. I was walking into this movie thinking Sub-Zero was gonna be a hero, just because I did not know anything about these characters. So I just was like, oh, I want to see Sub-Zero do some cool things with ice.
Yes.
And I got that. Mm-hmm. And so for me, all of my expectations for the movie were fulfilled, where I think your expectations, you had much grander expectations for this movie, and I didn't really have that.
Yeah, exactly. Because someone from my perspective, I can see the differences. And for a lot of people, like, the differences is where they're going to find a lot of the faults. Like, in the games, Liu Kang is the hero. He's the hero character that saves the day. He wins the tournaments. And in this movie, he's there, I guess. And he takes himself way too seriously, I think. That's another problem. I think all the characters take themselves way too seriously, except for Kano. And that's why I love him. He's the greatest. I think we are going to start talking about some spoilers. And I wanted to start with the part of this movie I genuinely liked was the opening 10 or so minutes with Hiroyuki Sanada as Scorpion and how Sub-Zero killed his family. And I thought that was great. Hiroyuki Sanada, he is a Japanese stunt actor. He's over 50 and he still did all of his own stunts in this movie. And that is awesome. But other than that first 10 minutes, he's only in like 3 minutes of this movie. And it is a shame that Scorpion, one of the most popular characters, basically the flagship character at this point of Mortal Kombat, is in like 15 minutes of this movie. I just, that makes me so angry. And yeah.
You want to hear my hot take?
What's your hot take?
I feel like the Sub-Zero and Scorpion rivalry was forced into this movie too much.
Well, here's the thing. I think their rivalry has always been a huge part of the series, but it's never been the main focus. It's always been kind of like a side plot.
I think if you hear like, but again, as somebody that hasn't heard a whole lot about Mortal Kombat, one of the only things that I know is like the Sub-Zero and Scorpion thing, and like
that's the thing that most people are familiar with, which is probably why they made that the main focus of this movie.
Yeah, but it's not even really the main focus. They just put it at the beginning 10 minutes,
and then the last 5.
And then they hint the entire time that Cole is going to be like the next Scorpion, and then Scorpion shows up.
Yeah. I never thought Cole was going to become Scorpion. I immediately knew as soon as Raiden picked up that baby that, okay, Cole's a descendant of Scorpion. I didn't even need to see Cole at that point. I'm like, okay, this guy that's never been in anything Mortal Kombat, he's going to be descended from Scorpion, because that baby, in every other version of Mortal Kombat, that baby dies too. And This is the timeline, I guess, where Scorpion's kid does not die, which is kind of cool, I guess.
Like, a lot of the movie really deals with the theme of like legacy and like and all of that, because especially with the Scorpion bloodline, because like one of Sub-Zero's central goals of the movie is to just eliminate that bloodline. Like,
yes,
like he works for the big bad. I don't even remember his name.
He's not even that's one of the points I want to talk about. The big bad, Shang Tsung, he is the very first big bad of the entire Mortal Kombat series. He's one of the most famous villains. I don't think they even say his name in this movie. They just refer to him as my lord or sorcerer. And he eats one soul, and it's like, okay, there's your Shang Tsung. We're not even going to say his name, even though he's one of the most important characters in the series. And that, I'm just like, this is so stupid. Come on, seriously. It makes me mad. It makes me mad. Like, yeah.
But they definitely set up for more movies, though. So, like, I'm not too worried about it. If you're the type of person that wants to see a series of Mortal Kombat in movies, I've always been a big proponent of the idea that a lot of the time video game movies just don't work. I think the only exceptions really are Detective Pikachu and Sonic. I think they did real well.
I think they did well.
They also did the OC really well in Sonic, because you just have
that owl.
Have two just humans that have never been in the Sonic.
Oh, the humans! I thought you meant the owl.
Oh no. I'm talking like as like a staple character.
Yeah.
Like the two main characters that are not Sonic are characters that have never been in a Sonic game, and they managed to pull it off because the chemistry is just so well.
Yes.
I think the issue with you is that you just couldn't, like, Cole didn't really bounce off of characters in a way that you wanted.
Nobody bounced off of anybody. The closest we got was Kano and Sonya, which I actually like that dynamic. I did.
Did you just want the movie to be funnier?
Here's the thing. I think this movie took itself way too seriously, and I thought it wasn't gonna do that, because this series, yeah, it's lots of blood and gore and all that stuff, but it's campy at the same time. It's not too, like, it's like the Joker. Why so serious? That's what I kept thinking throughout the entire movie. I'm like, dude, lighten up. Raiden, stop just being an asshole to everyone that wants to fight in your tournament. By the way, they don't even do the Mortal Kombat movie in the tournament in this movie. There's no tournament. It's the name of the movie, and Mortal Kombat is not in Mortal Kombat. Why? It's just, you wanna explain that to me? Why that's good?
Because regardless of the fact that it's not a tournament, I think the action was still very good. It's a difference between you and me and the expectations we had in this movie. I thought Mortal Kombat was just the name of the game, so I was just expecting cool fights.
Okay,
I think you were expecting a huge tournament, and so you walked into this movie with that expectation. It wasn't fulfilled, and so now you're upset.
Well, in all the trailers, they kept saying, "Oh, the legend speaks of a great tournament," and they're hyping up the tournament. They're showing the images of the past tournaments, and I was so excited to get a tournament. And back, you said you thought the action was good. Is it good? Because all I saw was the first 10 minutes. You get those cool shots of Hanzo Hasashi or Hiroyuki Sanada, Scorpion, any one of those names works, doing some awesome choreography with his sword and the "get over here" chain, and that looked really cool. But then the rest of the fights and the rest of the movie were all just like lots of chop cuts and weird angles, and I couldn't focus on anything for more than a couple seconds. They couldn't just hold on a fight without cutting to a different angle or something, which is weird because this is from a game where the entire fight is shot from one perspective.
Right. Well, I mean, I
think the choreography was good in a lot of places, and I loved all the fatalities. I thought those were great. The blood and gore in this movie holds up. This is what I wanted. I think that with all the blood and gore and stuff, it meets 50% of what I was wanting from a Mortal Kombat movie. But the way they shot the action was just disappointing and annoying to me, and I feel like that for a lot of people.
Okay, you can have that opinion for sure. I don't really see that. I wasn't really looking. I don't really know a whole lot about cinematography either. So
I know a little bit about it, but I do know. Yeah.
I sat there and I was just watching like the truck scene where they're in the van and they're driving away from Sub-Zero. And like,
you mean when Sub-Zero had a terror attack on McDonald's?
Yeah.
I thought that was actually kind of funny, not gonna lie.
Freaking based, dude.
Why are you going after that McFlurry? Is it because it's colder than you?
I saw scenes like that and I'm just like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm having fun here. That was really my baseline for this movie. Like, am I having fun? The answer probably for you is no.
No, I did not have fun. Here's the thing: I had fun whenever Kano was talking. Or when Scorpion was on screen. That's about it.
Anything that was absolutely mindless, I had a good time with. And most of this movie, you cannot tell me, is not mindless.
It is definitely mindless. I don't think a lot of thought went into a lot of the parts of it. Or, a lot of thought went into it, but I don't think a lot of consideration for what makes Mortal Kombat went in.
Well, I think it all depends on
perspective,
what you define
of course.
as Mortal Kombat. I think that's the real distinction, because for the general audience viewer that isn't super invested in Mortal Kombat lore or anything like that, this is a faithful adaptation. You have the staple characters, you have the gore, you have the fights, you have Scorpion saying get over here. You're like, yeah, I'm having a fun time. But for somebody that is incredible, like, who grew up with the games, I think you may have walked into this movie with more expectations than I did.
Yes. I think I was definitely expecting more than I was going to get, and I will give you that.
I was never expecting a brilliant movie from this movie.
So I'm going to start talking about some of the other notes I took. We've already gone through Scorpion was barely in the movie. Kano was the best part of it, in my opinion. Shang Tsung was totally wasted as well. My next part, the dragon marks and their superpowers were really dumb explanations of their abilities, because the dragon markings have never been a part of it. Basically, to get selected for the tournament, basically you either show up randomly or Raiden asks you to join. You're not just born with a tattoo, or you kill someone that has a tattoo and you get it. That's not a thing. And for a lot of their superpowers, because that's what I'm calling them. I know they have another name in the movie, but they're superpowers. Liu Kang's fire powers, yeah, those are something that he can do, so I'm not going to focus too much on that. And with Kung Lao and Liu Kang, I'm not going to talk much about their powers because they're very faithful to the games. But Kano, he can't just shoot a laser out of his eye. Basically, Kano's able to do that because he has cybernetic enhancements in the games and every other form of lore and medium that he's ever been in. He has a cybernetic parts that allow him to shoot those lasers. And don't even get me started. Like, how are metal arms and armor a superpower? Like, for Jax and Cole. Also, I just want to say this. Cole's armor looks like spaghetti wrapped around him, man. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, that's kind of why I expected him to be the next Scorpion. I thought that was just going to be like a long thing for his thing, for the rope to come out of. Yes,
exactly. Like, I was kind of hoping that's where it was going. Like Hanzo Hasashi, he's Scorpion. The lore behind Scorpion, you don't know. I'm not going to go into it here, but it's different than what happened. Not much different. I think Scorpion was one of the most faithfully presented characters in this movie. But I would have kind of been okay if Cole had become Scorpion. I would have been okay with that. Also, like, Jax's metal arms, like, cool. I think Jax was great in this movie. I know I have nothing to say bad about him. Great. My next point, Reiko, the dude with the hammer that Jax killed. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
He could have literally been anyone else. I don't remember fully, but I don't think he's ever been a playable character in any of the games. He's been in some of the comics, but I don't think he's ever been a playable character in any of the games. So I'm like, why didn't they use Baraka or Ermac or some other character? Like, seriously, why was he in this movie?
I mean, they really just shoved. I mean, I will admit they kind of just shoved their villains into just. They just picked they picked villains. They didn't really give a whole lot of backstory outside, and that's why you only cared about Sub-Zero in this movie.
For the villains, I also liked Cabal, the dude with the iron lung gas mask that knew Kano, because that's a thing from it. They were both in the same organization, and Kano's the one that put him in that iron lung gas mask. Which I like that they got a moment to talk, because that was cool. So I understand why Cabal's in this movie. Him and Sub-Zero and Shang Tsung are the only ones that I get why that's the character they chose. Melina, the girl with the Raphael daggers and the really sharp teeth. Yeah, the fan. Yeah. She is a clone hybrid of another female character, and without that setup of the first character, Katana, being here, I don't understand why Melina's in this, because they should have used Katana, because she fights for Outworld, but then she has a romance with Liu Kang and fights for Earthrealm afterwards. Which I would have liked that a lot more, would have given Liu Kang something to do, and yeah. Oh, my final thing. I actually wrote this like fully down. Like the other ones I just made notes, but this one I actually had to write down this whole thing just because it just stuck in my mind. I was wondering throughout, like, was Kung Lao's superpower his teleportation or his hat? Because he uses both, but the movie is just so boring that I refuse to watch it again to check. So I guess the movie wins.
Man, you are upset.
I'm a little upset. I'm not gonna lie.
You are. You care way too much about this movie, my friend.
Because here's the thing. I am so angry at this movie because I love the source material so much. Nobody gets this passionate about a subject unless they have a real emotional stake in it. And I think that just speaks to how strong this franchise is and how disappointed a lot of fans are going to be with the presentation of those characters and lore.
I can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
To the general audience, to me, who doesn't really know a whole lot, I know bits and pieces of things, but not too much. What I will say is I think the job that the movie was out to do, I think that they did. I think that they set up some characters for upcoming movies to make into a franchise. They gave you action that allowed you to just sort of revel in the stuff. I'm almost dead certain that they gave fatalities, like they did fatalities from the game.
They did, and I loved that. I recognized them. I'm like, that's cool. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think they did a job that was passable. I wasn't walking into this movie thinking this was going to like be a life-changing action movie.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. It's passable. If I was to grade this movie like it was a school project, I'd give it a C. But yeah, this has been our take on our review of the new Mortal Kombat movie 2021 on HBO Max and in theaters now. I'm gonna say, if you're a huge Mortal Kombat fan like me, you're gonna be disappointed probably. But if you're someone that doesn't have any stake in this really, you're gonna watch this movie and it's gonna be a movie. And you might enjoy it, you might not. Oh well, you're not gonna lose any sleep over it like I did. So thank you for joining us on the LastCast, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you.
Good night, everybody.